What's good, everybody? Welcome back to the Cloud Slayer channel. Hope you guys are doing well. Uh, Today is just going to be a bonus ramble for this week. I forgot to say Happy Mother's Day last one, so Happy Mother's Day late. Didn't even think about it. I'm inconsiderate, you know what I mean? So, but anyways, just had a nice little warm up. So, but after this, I'm going to continue it. Just doing a little bit of bag work and stuff like that. I enjoy hitting the bag and stuff like that. So, like I stated before, I'm no boxer. I'm no MMA guy. I'm no any of that stuff. You know what I mean? I'm just a guy that's trying to stay as healthy as he can. Try to do things that will benefit me in the long run, or help protect me and my family going down the road. I may not be a good fighter or anything like that, which I don't claim to be, and nor will I ever say that I am, because I'm not. I enjoy it. It gets out a lot of aggressions and stuff like that. And no matter how much you train with the bag, it's never gonna prepare you for the real thing, because what's that Bruce Lee saying? Wood doesn't hit back, planks don't hit back, and things like that, right? Heavy bags don't hit back. So no matter what, the actual experience is not gonna, it's not gonna be simulated from beating up a bag that's stationary that allows you to beat up on it. It's stuff like that. So, so if you're somebody that trains, with the bag and stuff like that, and you don't have experience with that, it's going to be different when you get in those situations. Last time I had to fight somebody, I was freaking in high school, you know what I mean? So I try to avoid fights as much as possible. If I have to, then I will, but it's always going to be the last resort, Somebody might call you a pussy along the way. Somebody might think you're a little bitch or something, but, it's just, you don't want to risk it, you know what I mean? You don't want to risk getting hurt. You don't want to risk hurting others, because, ultimately there's people that die by accident, of course, during these fights. People go to prison, people do whatever, people get hurt. I don't like hurting people, but at the same time, I don't want to be hurt. And I don't like seeing people that I care about be hurt. So usually I'm real quiet, I try to be quiet, especially when those situations pop up. Of course, it's different when you're joking with friends or something, you know what I mean? But sometimes that gets out of hand too. But get real quiet, you know what I mean? Because it's serious, somebody get hurt and things like that. And it's no joke, right? It's no joke. But you got to be wary. You got to be humble. You got to know that you don't know what that other person's been through, like what they're capable of and things like that, right? What are we capable of? We're capable of a lot, especially if we hold hatred and anger in our hearts, right? To make a man dangerous isn't always just about the training that they have, right? It's a lot of times it's the intent that they have behind these things, right? Of course, it's not always going to be true when you're facing somebody that has so much years of experience and honing those talents and stuff like that, right? But if you're an average person that aren't in those situations a lot, that aren't put through those things, it's you freeze up or whatever have you, or you underestimate your opponent, or you overestimate your own capabilities, right? Like I said, you don't know what a person's been through just by looking at them. There's a guy, Mike Tyson. I know a lot of people know him. He said that he's been in fights. He's a boxer, right? He's really big guys that should be, they look strong, and you just totally dominate them. And then you fight this guy that looks like a tub of lard, but they come to fight, and they're giving you a run for your money, and they're beating you up, and you're like, holy shit, this person's kicked my ass, and they don't look like they work out. You know what I mean? And he says stuff like that because it's true. Like you don't know by the look of the book that it can whip your ass. You know what I mean? It's by, because the motherfuckers could be working the hardest, Tai Tuivasa, one of the best heavyweights right now in the world of MMA, mixed martial arts, inside the UFC. Looks like that, Roy Nelson, big country, older gentleman, but still beats the shit out of you, right? He looks like a big blob. I mean, but you tell by his arms that he's big as shit. But like Tai Tuivasa doesn't look like it. There's a lot of people. Andy Ruiz, people say that he looks like average Joe, but when I looked at him, I'm like, that dude's big as shit. He got some big ass arms. Yeah, he has fat around his midsection, but you could tell by the way he's built that there's a lot of muscle under that shit, You can have a lot of muscle and have a thin layer of fat that will cover up your abs, that'll cover up your arms, and motherfuckers are gonna think you're just a fat, flabby person that sits on the couch. Not always true, It just means you got a shit diet. You're taking in a lot of calories, and it's not going to show that vascularity, right? You're carrying around extra fat. Your body's burning fuel differently, and it holds in different types of energies. So, like people go through the science of what it takes to be more vascular, what it takes to be, looking more slim like that, So as soon as you understand that, you could, it's, you won't be able to underestimate. You won't underestimate your opponent as much, just because they have that look. Doesn't mean they can't fight. Doesn't mean they can't beat the shit out of you. Doesn't mean that they're not fast. Doesn't mean that they're not athletic. I'm not, like, people underestimate me too, They're like, oh, look at this big dude. He probably can't run fast. He probably can't shoot a basketball. He probably can't jump or something, you know what I mean? But I jump higher than people think I can. I can move faster than people think I can. I have a little bit more endurance than people think I have, which I don't complain, I use that to my advantage then, which is fine and stuff like that, because to me, that's where I don't underestimate other people, because I know how it is to be on that side, to be underestimated, which is, it gives you an advantage, right? So, but if you think everybody underestimates you, I've been in situations where people are like, don't underestimate me or whatever. I'm like, who the fuck's underestimating you? Just, like, what are you talking about? I know what you're capable of anything. Just because you look a certain way doesn't mean shit. So I guess this thing is, this podcast is, or this ramble is going to be more towards that. Don't underestimate anybody, and if you're underestimated, show them why they shouldn't underestimate you, right? I played a lot of basketball in my time, and I grew up down in the cities. A lot of people thought I was white or Mexican, I guess, but I'm not Mexican. Pretty close, I guess. Relatives, Native American, same things, right? Same difference. Stuff like that. Just colonized by different people and took up different languages, I guess. Mostly English for most of their native relatives. There's a lot of Native Americans that learn Spanish, but regardless, I would get called white boy and stuff like that playing basketball, right? I got called white KG once because, you back somebody down, and then you sat there and I palmed the ball, before I passed it or something. And, stuff like that. Sometimes people underestimate you because of the color of your skin, and things like that. It doesn't mean that you can't play basketball, right? It's like basketball is like any other sport. The best players are going to be the one that put forth the most effort, stayed injury-free, and they want it the most, It's the best players aren't always the most athletic, and the most athletic aren't always the best players. Also, the smartest players aren't always the best players neither. Sometimes athleticism can supersede that, It comes down to, a lot of times, the desire to win, right? That pushing yourself to that next level to get there. A lot of these great players, like growing up, the one thing that they had in common when they talked about playing their game, or anybody, football, whatever, a lot of them, it was like somebody took over for them, that they're pushing it past the limit that they never knew that they had, that they weren't thinking about anything. They were thinking about winning. They were thinking about that moment that they were in, reading that situation, and doing the best that they could to win, to get that tackle, get that interception, throw that touchdown pass, dunk the ball, shoot that three, whatever the situation demanded of them, And I always loved hearing stories like that, and that was, I think, a lot of those stories helped push me to love sports, love basketball, love football, and all that stuff, and I don't know. It also makes me laugh at a lot of these critics that talk shit about these the best basketball players. But at the same time, they're creating a narrative. They're talking shit, and they're getting more fans to like it or whatever, creating controversy that may not exist. They may or may not exist, and it just. You can doubt them. They could be the worst team right now at the beginning of the year, but by the end of the year, they might got their shit together. It might be the best team, They had low seeds win championships, so it's not out of the realm of possibilities. Ooh, man, sweating. But anyways, don't underestimate anybody. Be humble, you know what I mean? Especially people that were in that situation of being underestimated. They understand more than anybody. So give yourself a little humble pie and, ride that roller coaster if they underestimate you, So, but anyways, I hope everybody has a great one. And, you're out there, you're achieving something, you're working towards something. Never forget that. It's the hard work that you put into these things that you want to achieve when nobody's looking that's going to get you further. That's probably going to be the thing that you remember most about grinding towards a thing, whatever thing it may be. Sports, I always refer to sports because a lot of times that's what people are grinding towards. But if it's not that, schoolwork, it's, stuff like that. It could be anything that's pushing you to do better, to remember, to want to become more. So, staying sober, that's hard shit to do, right? It's not easy for anybody. I have my own battles, and, I have my own relapses, and, I come from a place of understanding too, and I don't judge people. Some people in my life have been oh, druggy, whatever, and it's hey, man, you don't know their situation, Sometimes it's from people that have done drugs, that are, that I've known done drugs. Dude, you ain't perfect either. What the fuck are you talking about? Sure, maybe the drugs you are doing aren't as harmful, right? Marijuana or something like that. But, you got to be mindful that those, just because you have a different life doesn't mean that you don't have a struggle. So it just remembering those things, that when you're putting forth that work towards those things too, people are going to doubt you. And when you see somebody else struggling, try to be mindful of that, right? Try to be mindful of that stuff because they're going through that same shit that you're going through. And they might feel helpless. They might feel alone. They might feel like nobody's got their back too. If you've been in that situation, if you've been there, you know what I'm talking about, right? You know how hard it is when you feel like you're the only one swimming against the current. That that sea of hopelessness, that sea of whatever. It's not easy. Never going to be easy for anybody. But anyways, I'm sorry. I keep getting off on the rambles, and I hope you guys have a great one. Till next time, I'll see you guys, and I'm gonna get this workout in. Peace.